Starting off in our number 10 spot, we have 3 calls. Okay, so this is a number that when you first call, it might seem like nothing too crazy happens, but it's when you hang up that things start to get spooky. If you call the number 207-404-2604, it is said that afterwards another strange number will call you 3 separate times, and each time they will leave messages full of creepy sounds and other things. It is said that the first call you will hear blood-curdling screams, the second you hear creepy music and someone singing a song like it's a horror movie, and in the third call they are said to be giving you important information, but it's being given in a spine-tingling whispered voice. All in all, I'm not brave enough to call this number, but if you are, good luck. In our number 9 spot today, we have the devil's number. Once you hear this phone number, you'll realize that it's probably pretty self-explanatory why this one is considered a number you should never call. The number is very simple to remember. It's 666-666-6666. That's why it's called the devil's number, as many people believe that repeating sixes are a sign of the devil, or at least a demonic number. People have reported that after calling this number, they began experiencing weird things. People have said that they received strange messages after, including voice messages where they can hear really weird stuff. People have also explained that when they call this number, it fails to show up on their phone bill or statement. Maybe this means that there really is something darker and more sinister going on behind this number. In our number 8 spot today, we have Jumbled Up. So this is a number that has an area code that places it in New York, but to be perfectly honest, that doesn't even matter, as this number is a virtual phone number, or VoIP number, meaning that whoever it belongs to, it could be based anywhere. The number is 646-868-1844, and it is said that when you call it, the initial message you hear has bell sounds, and it's kind of strange, but it slowly transforms into this cacophony of jumbled up phrases and voices, and then it all finishes with the classic like phone tone sound. This is definitely eerie, but not too terrifying, but it doesn't end here. After the call, within seconds you'll get a text message that has a bunch of jumbled up words. It'll look like a sentence, but when you read it, it won't make any sense. Honestly, I would probably refrain from reading the sentence out loud, because who knows if it's holding some kind of curse or something weirder. In our number 7 spot today, we have Stranger Things 4. We had to include this number on the list with the recent release of Stranger Things 4, and if you're a fan of the show, you might just recognize this number. The number is 618-625-8313, and prior to the release of the 4th season, it is said that calling this number might have given us some clues about what was to come. It's not the most terrifying phone number on this list, but given what was going on in the show at the time, it definitely leaves you with an eerie feeling. Also, if you didn't know and accidentally dialed this number, I'm not gonna lie, hearing the message you get on the other end probably would have been a slightly terrifying experience. In our number 6 spot today, we have Code Word. This number is said to come from North Carolina, just north of Charlotte. It is said that when you dial this number, 828-756-0109, I love reading out these phone numbers, it's making me laugh. At first you'll hear a bunch of obnoxious, blasting like horn noises, but once you get past that annoying part, you then hear the sound of a man's voice. This man is said to be hurriedly giving out a binary message. Of course, people wanted to figure out what the message says, and when translated, it spells out the word death. I don't know. There's something about getting a binary code from a strange phone number from a mysterious man that's already eerie, and then once you translate it, it has a sinister message that just feels like a curse waiting to happen. In our number 5 spot today, we have the cursed phone number. Legend goes that there was a Bulgarian phone number that is said to have been in use for 10 years before it was closed. The reason why it ended up being closed and put out of use is because it is rumored to have belonged to 3 separate people who all died of mysterious circumstances after having been assigned the phone number. Apparently, all of the deaths took place shortly after the person had been assigned the number, and they were all seemingly a bit suspicious, thus the rumors of the cursed telephone number began to spread. After this, the company who owns the number made the decision to suspend it, but they didn't give out details as to why, which only makes things a heck of a lot more suspicious. In our number 4 spot today, we have Sadoko's number. This is a phone number that is said to be a legendary Japanese phone number, but for all of the most sinister reasons. The number is 09044444444, and people say that it holds a curse. When you first call it, they say that the first thing you hear is strange noises that are pretty unnerving. This isn't the worst part though. What is said to happen next is fully the plot of a horror movie. It is said said that after you call this number within 7 days, you will likely be in some kind of horrific accident. It's like the ring of phone numbers. I truly don't think it gets any more cursed than that. Apparently there are many legends surrounding this number, so all in all, I think it's best if we probably just stay away from it. Throw it in the garbage. In our number 3 spot today, we have Help Me. This is a number that might not be in service anymore, but we still had to talk about it today on this list because it is so creepy. Apparently in the 1970s, if you lived in the UK and dialed the number 20202020 or something along those lines, people's memories are a little fuzzy, you'd be in for quite a fright. You had to dial the number from a payphone, and after doing so, you'd hear a really monotone voice that would answer. It would either say, help me, Susie is drowning, or it would say, help me, Susie is dying. Either way, neither of those are good options. It is unclear if there was any sort of curse or something similar that came with this phone number, but either way, just hearing that is sure to send a shiver down anyone's spine. In our number 2 spot today, we have zeros. It is said that if you wish to contact the dead, or perhaps if the dead is trying to contact you, then all you gotta do is dial 000000000. Seems easier than going to a medium, I guess, but there is quite a catch. It is said that if you call this number, that means that you need to give something in exchange, and it is way worse than long distance fees. Apparently, there will be a male voice on the other end that asks you to summon 15 others to call him, or else you will be facing death within a week. I mean, the guy has expectations. I'll give him that. It is definitely not recommended to call this number, so beware. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Red Room number. There's a reason this number is at the top of this list today, and that is because it is said to be tied to the infamous urban legend of the Red Room. It is said that this number serves as how whoever is behind the Red Room finds their next victim. Should you call this number, they will be able to trace your geographical location, and even if they call you and you answer, they will still be able to track you down. From here, this is how they locate who to take next in order to bring to the Red Room that the legend speaks about. It is said that in the Red Room, people are tortured and killed, and it's all live streamed to the dark web. So honestly, I would definitely stay away from this number. I know it's a legend, but I'm not trying to take any risks, just in case. You never know.
Our first number is 666-666-6666. 666, the classic scary number. Now for years, people all over the world have been receiving creepy messages from the phone numbers 666 or the 1666 whole number, you know what I mean. Some people believe these calls come from the devil, and in many cases, the calls do not show up on the phone bill and they can't be traced back to anyone. An online user posted an experience they had with the number, saying, "We were in a car going home one night when our friend received a call on his cell phone from the 666 number. He never picked up the phone, and we even joked about how the devil was calling him from hell. Several minutes later, he received a voicemail. Now this was the oddest voicemail I had ever heard. It sounded like a hollow voice, and there was a lot of static in the background. We were only able to determine a couple of words, but it scared the crap out of us. And for some reason, the message was erased several hours later, and there was no sign of it on his bill. Yeah, that definitely sounds haunted, and I think I'm gonna go block that number right now." Next on our list is 407-734-0254. Now this contact is associated with a clown who lives in Naples, Florida. It is one of the famous ghost numbers that people avoid calling. It said when you call the number, it connects you to Wrinkles, the clown. Now Wrinkles will then appear and intimidate you and your friends. He wears a red and white polka dotted suit, balloons, and a morose face mask. His phone number is plastered on stickers scattered throughout the Naples area. Now the Wrinkles the Clown craze dates back to a 2014 video. Caught on CCTV's grainy black and white camera, a scary video of Wrinkles is captured. At first, many people thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. It has since gone incredibly viral. In the video, a girl is seen sleeping on a trundle bed. The drawer beneath her slowly opens, seemingly on her own, to reveal a clown in a polka dotted suit. He stands up to his full height and looms over the sleeping child. Luckily for her, she doesn't wake up and isn't permanently scarred. Turns out Wrinkles was not an intruder, he was brought to the house on purpose by parents looking to mess with their daughter. For Wrinkles, scaring people is a profitable side hustle. Wrinkles the Clown is most commonly summoned as a desperate or mean disciplinary tactic. Parents pay $150 an hour for Wrinkles to scare their misbehaving kids. There was even a documentary about him, but he's never revealed his true identity. Due to that, I do not trust him, and if I ever see Wrinkles in real life, I think I would cry. Number 8. 999-9999. Now this is one of the numbers you should not call in Thailand. Legend has it that if you wish to die after midnight, dial that number. The story goes when the person answers the phone, you make a wish, and that once you make a wish, you want to meet your maker, and a bizarre incident happens and you are no more. Now there is some controversy regarding this number, as reports say it was set up to promote a movie, but it's not clear if the curse was made up by the movie or inspired the movie. The eerie number is believed to still be haunted 22 years after the film's debut, and personally, I wouldn't even jinx it. Whether it's legend or real, I'm just gonna stay away. Next on our list is 1000000000. This strange number is linked to Asian people and is believed to be one of the most haunted phone numbers. It's believed to be a call from the dead. It's said if you see this call, your deceased relative is trying to reach you. People who received the call reported that a male voice instructed them to ask 15 people to call him back, and failure to do so would result in their death. Now this just sounds like some early 2000s chainmail that would have scared me when I was 10, so I'm not too sure I believe it. Next on our list is 2020-2020. People who were children in the 1970s claim that in the UK there was a mysterious number that could be dialed for free in a payphone. When the call was picked up, you would hear a woman's voice saying over and over, help me, Susie's dying." Now why or where this came from is unknown, but a lot of people have experiences with it. An online user said back in 1975 when I was 9 years old, some of the kids I hung around with insisted we all pile into the nearest phone box to hear a spooky message. You would hear women speaking in a curiously monotone voice saying help me, Susie's dying over and over, and sometimes she said help me, Susie's drowning, always in the same monotonous voice. Another user said, I have a vivid memory of the strange phone message. I was with 3 other girls from school and we were messing around in a phone box calling random numbers. One of the girls said she knew a number you could call to hear a spooky message. When she called this number, we all heard the Susie's dying message. Needless to say, we were all freaked out by this. Yes, that is extremely weird and very unsettling. Next on our list is 090-4444-4444. The mysterious phone number from Japan has been dubbed Sadako's number, and it is feared as a cursed line with potentially disastrous consequences. According to the Japanese, Sadako is a legendary villain in the scariest Japanese legends. Sadako was a ghost of a psychic who was thrown in a well and used the number to haunt people. Now the 4 digits of the number hold special significance in Japanese culture due to their dual homophones, one meaning she or death. While dialing the infamous number, first you might be met with strange sounds or silence, but it's what may follow that will send chills down your spine. Rumor has it those who are unfortunate enough to call the line will suffer a horrific accident or even death within 7 days. Now don't get too eager to call it though, as the brand that operates the number put on their website that the number is no longer in use and it will not be assigned to anyone either, because the owner would then constantly receive spam calls from people wanting to contact Sadako. Next on our list is 408-634-2806. A lot of rumors surround this number, the freakiest which insists that it's a so-called red room number. Now for those of you who don't know, a red room number is a number which can allegedly be used to track down the physical location of the people who either call the number themselves or answer the calls received from it. Then the person behind this number will kidnap the other person, bring them to a red room, and end their lives. Now this sounds like something completely out of a movie. Now these alleged sessions are said to be broadcast broadcast live over the deep web, which honestly doesn't surprise me. It said if you call this number, you will hear a static-filled automated recording of someone saying various jumbled things like all's well that ends well. Now, I'm not going to be the one to test it out though, so if you do, let me know how it goes. Well, that is if you survive. Number 3. The red number. The red number is from Pakistan, and it caused a stir in 2007 when people received alarming emails and text messages about the contact. You know when you get a phone call and it's usually in black or white text? Well, not these numbers, they were in red. It was said that the contact had a high frequency range that damaged brain nerves and even caused death. Now, it was called a red number not only because of the physical red color of the number, but also to represent blood, because you would die if you called/received a call from this number. People were warned not to receive or look at the red digits. The contact was a national discussion, forcing the Pakistani government to form a commission of inquiry. Next on our list is 1-216-333-1810. Now, this mysterious number has been making headlines and sending chills down people's spines since a USB stick with an MP3 file called 2332 was discovered in a toilet after a 9 Inch Nails concert. At first, the file contained only the sounds of crickets chirping, but upon closer inspection, it was revealed to be more than what it appeared. After undergoing spectrograph analysis, it turned out that hidden within the recording was a phone number. Those brave enough to dial the digits were confronted with a harrowing call between an anguished mother and her daughter, who had locked herself inside a storage closet and feared for her life due to gunshots and shouting echoing in the background. Whether this was conceived as part of an elaborate marketing ploy or is genuinely real remains unknown. Regardless, it scares me. And last on our list is 0888-888-888. The first owner of the number was the CEO of the issuing company, Mobil himself, Vladimir Grashnov. Reportedly, he died of cancer in 2001, and according to Mail Online, his cancer was rumored to have been caused by a business rival using radioactive poisoning on him. The number was taken up by a mafia named Konstantin Dimitrov, who died in 2003, where he'd gone to inspect his $500 million worth drug empire. Reportedly, he was gunned down by Russian mafias who were jealous of him. It's also said that he had the phone with him when he died. The third man who took up the number was businessman Konstantin Dishlev, who died in 2005 in Bulgaria's capital Sofia, reportedly outside an Indian restaurant. It was reported that he was also running a large drug operation. The case into his death is still open to this day. Now, does this really have to do with the number itself? I'm not too sure, but ever since 2005 the number has been suspended, and whoever calls it hears the same message outside network coverage, which I think is the best thing to do.
Alright, we're just getting started now. We're at number 9 and we have the red numbers. Now this one originates from Nigeria back in July 2004. Emails started spreading around the country at this time, warning people to not call or answer anything from these numbers. They would apparently appear on the phone in bright red when your phone rang. Now if you did take the call, people said a high frequency sound would blast out of the phone and cause hearing loss and even brain hemorrhaging, which killed people. At the time, the biggest Nigerian cell network in the country put out a statement saying the deaths weren't real, but some people out there still swear the numbers and the noise coming from them were 100% real. Alright, moving on to number 8 now, guys. We have 10 million. I'm saying that because it's easier than just saying 1 followed by 7 zeros. Anyway, there has been a legend spreading around Asia for a number of years now that if you call the number 10 million, a male voice will answer and instantly tell you that if you do not call 15 people and tell them to call this number, you will die very quickly. Apparently, that's how the knowledge of the number has spread so rapidly around the world. Even in Western countries, I found stories online about people getting calls from this number. I don't really know what's going on. I would ask you guys to help me find out, but I don't want you to die. So let's move on to our number 7 now, and we have Susie's Dying. This one's really creepy. It's an old one that dates back to the 1970s in the UK. Now back then there were payphone boxes everywhere in the streets, and there was a strange number that could be called inside of them for free. When it was answered, a woman's voice would reply and say in a very monotonous tone, "Help me, help me, Susie's dying. She would say that over and over again on repeat. Now sometimes it would change to help me, Susie's drowning. Equally creepy. No thank you. A lot of people calling this number back then were kids who, now that they're adults, are struggling to remember the exact number, but I heard that 2020 was one that apparently worked. I don't know if it still does. Maybe it died when phone boxes stopped being a thing, or maybe it's been waiting for years to be called again. Alright, at the number 6 spot now we have Call Carrie. In 2013, the horror movie Carrie was released. At the end of the movie, a number appeared on the screen for people to call. 1-207-404-2604. It said, call Carrie. Carrie as in the scary girl from the movie. Now when you call it, it would hang up instantly, but then a different number would start calling you. Now I've heard different mixed reports about whether the number is actually still up today, but there are actually a few YouTube videos that you can go and watch right now of people calling the number themselves. So check it out, see what you think. For now though, we've reached number 5 and we have the 8 number, as you can see here. Now this technically isn't even a number you can even call anymore, but you're about to find out why. Back in 2001, this number was issued by the Bulgarian phone company Mobitel. The owner of that number was actually the company CEO. Now he died of cancer in 2001, aged 48. His death was thought to be suspicious as some believed a business rival had killed him using radioactive poisoning. The phone ended up with a Bulgarian mafia boss called Konstantin Dimitrov, who was down in the street just 2 years later. Then the phone was also passed on to a corrupt businessman who was also shot to death in the street. After that, the legend of the cursed number and phone spread so quickly that the phone company has since taken it offline so that nobody can ever call it again. And I still wouldn't even try if I were you. Coming at number 4 now, we have 12163331810. This one. And this one is really creepy. In 2007, at a Nine Inch Nails concert, someone found a USB in the bathroom. On the USB, there was a sound file that sounded a bit like crickets chirping, but when you run it through a spectrograph software, this appears, a phone number. When you call the number, an audio tape is played of a US wiretap on a phone call. The call's really weird. It features a woman calling her mum from the bathroom of a bar and screaming for help about some crazy guy with a knife. It's pretty terrifying. Now some people have said this was actually done by Nine Inch Nails, the band, as a promotion for their album at the time, but I've even seen people say that's just a cover-up. Either way, a scary number is a scary number. Next up at the number 3 spot now, we have 999 999 9999. In the UK, 999 is the number you use to call the police, but if you're in Thailand and you add 7 more 9s to the end of that, well, let's just say there's a bit of an urban legend about that number. Some people in Thailand believe that the number is cursed. It's said that if you call the number, you can contact an evil spirit that will grant you one wish. The catch is, the spirit will then want your soul. In Thailand, and now in other parts of the world, some people are already thinking, well, you know what? Even if this isn't true, I'm going to stay clear of that number. Moving on to number 2 now, we have the flip of that number. We have 666 666 6666. I have read many stories online about people calling or texting this number and getting some pretty evil stuff back, like the devil kind of evil, you know. Some people said they got creepy calls in the night with static and heavy breathing in the background. Others said they got strange threats and warnings about stuff they were doing at that very moment. Some people said they didn't get a call back for a long time, but eventually they always did. Is that someone just messing around? Is it the actual devil? I don't know, I don't want to find out.
Starting us off at number 10 is basketball practice. So a few weeks ago, Cincinnati-based Amanda Jones alerted the police when her 12-year-old daughter started receiving suspicious texts. On a Monday, her daughter got a text which read, "Hey, your mom told me to get you from practice at North College Hill tomorrow. I'll be outside in a white van behind the red car. I'll be there at 5:30, baby." As soon as she got the text, she ran downstairs and asked her mom why she was gonna get someone else to pick her up, and Amanda was like, "I'm not, why would I do that?" When she read the text, she was stunned. Neither of them knew the number it came from, but the scariest part was the fact that the stranger, who didn't even know them, knew what school this girl went to, knew what time she'd get out from basketball. Like, who would even know that other than a close friend or a very invested stalker? They ended up taking it to the police and the principal, which I think was the right move, because stalking can very quickly turn into kidnapping or killing. And that was so specific, like the white van behind the red car, like, First of all, no kid with one brain cell is gonna walk into a van. We all know vans have creeps in them, let's be real. That's the first thing you learn when you come out of the womb. Don't go to a man in a van. Coming in at number 9 is the silhouette. Now, if I was the person in this scenario, I would legit have just cried. Shared by Reddit user James Short, he said he once got a text from a random number saying, "How's your show?" And of course he was watching TV at the time, but he just deleted it and moved on. It wasn't a big deal. 10 minutes later, James got another text saying, "Please don't ignore me. Ignoring me makes me very angry." Now he started getting creeped out, and that's when he received the last text, which was, "I'll always be watching. Look outside." James looks outside and sees a light turn on in the upstairs window of the house opposite him, and he just sees this tall silhouette of someone just waving at him. James, being the smart boy he is, called the police on his ass, and turns out the guy wasn't even living in the house at all. He filed a restraining order against him and thankfully never saw him again. It was a happily ever after indeed. Now at number 6 is the chill morning. This one's short and sweet, and it was shared by real Krista Nana, who was around 16 or 17 when this happened. She was on the bus on the way home from school, and she was in her sports uniform, just for some context. Now, the user then randomly gets a text from an unknown number saying, "Are you not cold in those thin clothes?" Freaking out, she started looking around the bus to see if one of her friends was pranking her, and then she got another text saying, "Stop looking, you're not gonna find me." I feel like with this one it was one of her friends who did send the text message. I feel like it's not ominous enough to be a proper stalker, or maybe I'm just, well, I've never had a stalker, thankfully, fingers crossed, I really don't know how it works. Coming in at number 5 is Jane. This one happened in Pittsburgh back in 2013. A woman contacted Channel 11 after she started getting suspicious text messages. She said she was receiving several messages from a bunch of unknown numbers, all containing very personal details about her. They would address her by her full name, ask whether she was still single or not, how her house was keeping up with the address included, and everything. After doing some digging, she found out that the numbers had been texting people not just in Pittsburgh, but in Indiana, Texas, and Illinois as well. So what do we have here? Like a cross-country stalker on our hands? Is that what we have? Is that the deal? No deal. No comprendo. Adios, amigo. I'm bilingual. What can I say? Self-plug. At number 4 is the better option. This one comes from Maya3024 on Reddit, who said he once got a really long text message from an unknown number. The text was this other person arguing about how Maya shouldn't be sleeping with truck drivers for cheap money when he could easily hook up with him and his rich friends for a lot more money. The user then replied saying they were a guy and that the person probably had the wrong number, and then they replied with this exact name as well as his university dorm address, including the room number and all. They blocked the number instantly and were sure that it wasn't a prank since they were an international student themselves, so he didn't really have friends for them to be even doing that to him. I mean, at least when you're a loner you can't have friends that prank you. I get that. I feel that. But also, are you hooking up with these truck drivers for cheap money? Because don't sell yourself short, honey. You're worth more than that. Now at number 2 is the joke. This one's from Redditor Breasts of Men, and they shared that they once received a text that said, "Look, I thought I could do it. I can't. It's been 6 months since it happened, and nobody even cares anymore. He's just a kid. I do not want to be any further involved. Ask someone else." WTF. What on earth do you not want to be further involved in, bruh? What's going on? Then they got another text 30 seconds later that said, "Oh sorry, that was just a mistake. I meant to send that to my brother. We're just messing around." And that's the biggest load of bull if I ever heard it. Like, that's exactly what you say when you tell your crush you like them and after they don't respond you just tell them it was your friend who messaged you, or like, haha, JK. Like, nah, who are you fooling? It wasn't a JK from any angle. I'm onto you. And finally, at number 1 is Chris with a Y. I didn't know you could spell Chris with a Y, but apparently you can. This one was shared by Kirsten Pyle, who said that last year she got a text from a random number that she chose to ignore. A month later, she got another text that said, "Sailor said that he wants to leave. I don't know if I should let him. He's been very annoying lately and has been bad." Confused, she replied saying, "I think you have the wrong number," to which they replied, "Is this not Chris?" And that shocked her even more because only 1 or 2 people had ever called her that in her life. She asked Chris who, and the person replied Chris Piles. Not Pile, but Piles. And no one knew that was her actual last name. Everyone thought it was Pile, but it actually was Piles. When asked who it was, the person replied saying Chris Wollaston, and Kirsten had never heard that name before, and that is spelt with a Y. Chrys. for anyone wondering. She decided to do some digging on Phone Finder and found a number linked to the name and called it. The woman answered and asked who it was, and Kirsten explained the text and Chris Wollaston, and the woman replied saying that that was her 16-year-old son. He had died in a car accident 4 years prior, and the accident had killed his little brother Sailor as well. If that wasn't weird enough already, turns out the text she received were the last texts he had sent before the accident, and it was because of those texts that he got distracted and the car crashed. And turns out his best friend was this girl's cousin. And that's, I don't know what relevance that has, but it was in their Reddit thread.